and F5. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today's meeting is about the cloud. This is a presentation of the Microsoft Community Connection. We're joined with the Brea Chamber of Commerce. My name is Laith. I'm talking from Compico. We're an IT service provider, and I'm joined with Manish from AdepTech. We're holding this event today to as a part of the Microsoft Community Connection program. The Microsoft Community Connection is a program by Microsoft to help reach out to associations and Chamber of Commerce to provide educational information to small businesses. Manish, AdepTech, and Compico are both premier Microsoft partners, and we were tasked with carrying out this task. Again, my name is Laith. I'm from Compico. We're a managed IT consultant company. We help small businesses manage their infrastructure, and I'm joined with Manish. Manish, can you please talk a little bit about AdepTech, please?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Laith. I'm happy to be here as part of Microsoft Community Connections, and there are many other events we are doing, and happy to be here. We are with AdepTech. Our focus is more on the applications, whether the application is on the cloud or on desktop, mobile, or enterprise. The focus is use of applications to improve business productivity or doing more with the less. So with the same amount, you can do more, or you can save money for the same kind of environment. Again, Manish with AdepTech. I'm the principal here. Looking forward.
Thank you, Manish. And as Manish said, we've been working with a lot of associations in Southern California. We work actually regularly with the SBA and SCORE, and provide this content to entrepreneurs and people that are trying to start a business. So with this, let me get started. Today we're going to talk about the cloud. Obviously, this is a technology that, as everybody hears the cloud, and about the cloud, and a lot of people are not able to make sense out of it. So what we're trying to do is going to try to make some sense out of it. The reason why you would want to learn about the cloud and want to learn about technology is the Boston Consulting Group, which is a consulting, which is actually done. They have 84 offices in 46 countries. Actually, last year they were voted #2 best place to work for in the United States on Forbes magazine, which is a very reputable consulting group. They have done a lot of research, and they get a lot of input from small businesses. And they found that businesses that do embrace technology end up growing twice as fast as a company that does not embrace technology. They also increase their revenue by 15%. And because these people really believe in technology and they see the benefits of technology, they are 5 times more likely to invest and stay on top of new technology. I'll just give you a quick example. A few years ago, like 15, 20 years ago, when you wanted to start a product, you would, from the time you dream of the product to the time of actually having it on the shelf, it used to be about 4 years. By the time you create a prototype, get the engineers together and move things around and get it up on the shelf. These days, from idea to being on the shelf, you can actually have that done within 12 weeks. So the people who have adopted the newer technology faster obviously saw the benefit, and those who didn't ended up in the background. So with that, I just want to start with a general description of what the cloud is. The cloud is really just the internet. It's a marketing term. It's a medium where you can communicate. Instead of communicating on the phone or communicating in your local wires, you're using the internet to connect to your data. Now, where's the benefit in that? The benefit, of course, is when everybody's connected to the cloud, that means now you can all share the same data and you can see the same data. The disadvantage, of course, is there are, of course, risks in being in the cloud. So in this presentation, I'm going to try to show you what are the pros and where you can protect yourself so you can decide on your own. So some of the things, of course, are on the cloud. Some of them are very, very obvious. Of course, there are things that we can talk about that are for personal use, like social networking or dating sites or whatever. But we're going to mostly focus on business because this is a business presentation. But of course, definitely online banking. I mean, who needs to go to the bank anymore and stand in line when you can do almost 90% of your transactions online? For mobile users, like for Salesforce, people that are selling at the time that need demos, then information on their clients, you can use Salesforce. Trying to access your information from anywhere in the world, you could use something like file storage. Business connection with other partners and with vendors can be done through LinkedIn or Facebook. A lot of people, especially like accountants, that they use QuickBooks to keep books and to file tax returns from anywhere in the world. All you need is an online version of QuickBooks, and now you can work from anywhere, pretty much. Things like Microsoft and applications with email and cloud applications help you operate from anywhere, from any PC, regardless of the platform. And of course, you get music with iCloud and collaboration, talking, and video, and sharing slides, just like what we're doing right now. It can be done with Skype or GoToMeeting or LogMeIn or many, many different applications out there. So if it's so good, why aren't people doing it? Of course, there are several reasons. Sometimes people just don't know how it will affect their business. They don't know if they incorporate this new technology. They don't know if it's going to hurt or benefit their business, and they really have not seen it in action. The other one is people might not understand the offerings of the internet. They haven't really looked into it. I really don't know how it will add to their business. Sometimes new technology, of course, is hard to work with. I mean, the change is very stressful on a lot of businesses, especially if they do not see the benefit of doing things in a new way. They might not embrace the technology. And some people just simply have never even been exposed to it, and they would not even look into it. So we're going to try to explain a little bit about what each one of those technologies are, and we're going to try to address all of these four areas in this presentation. So the four key cloud business products are cloud servers, hosted phones, hosted applications, and managed services. Let me get into each one of those quickly. Cloud servers, that's where a lot of change has happened. A few years back, Amazon used to have a lot of, for the holiday season, they would buy all these extra servers and to handle all the loads for the holiday season, to handle all the transactions. Well, after the holiday season, sales went down a lot. They had all these servers that were doing nothing. So instead of just keeping them running, doing nothing, they started renting out space on those servers. And because servers these days, like the hardware, can absorb so much, they create multiple instances on one hardware platform that can have multiple instances of servers. So each person renting space on that server would have their own environment, completely secure, that they can do whatever they want to in it. So they started giving them out to developers, and developers would go there if they need something, a platform to work on for about 4 or 5 months. They would go there, rent it. They don't have to buy $5,000 or $6,000 worth of hardware. They would just go pay a couple $100 a month. They would use the server, do their experimentation, and then at the end, just close the account, and that's it. They don't have to worry about that extra hardware, and they don't have to worry about licenses. They don't have to worry about paying for electricity or anything like that. So this became a lucrative business for Amazon, and others started duplicating it. So this technology depends mostly on virtualization, which is creating a simulated server environment using one specific platform, one specific hardware platform. And that helps a lot to eliminate a lot of the guesswork. when somebody starts a new server, a new business, they need a new server environment. They don't know how much they're going to grow. They don't know how much maintenance is required. So instead of actually going out there and buying a server, buying the licenses, and predicting how much you're going to grow in the next 5 years, now you can just, within a couple of hours actually, start a server in the cloud, and you're able to be up and running with your own version of your company, and you're pretty much up and running within hours in a domain, secure environment that's completely available to you wherever you are in the world. Of course, this model is good for small businesses that are working in different remote locations, but it's not good for everybody. When you get a little bit bigger and you need faster access, of course, when you're in the cloud, you have advantages and disadvantages. Of course, the advantages are you're in the cloud, you're high availability, you're accessible from wherever you want. But there are some things you sacrifice, like speed of access, and of course you're in the cloud, so you need more security in the cloud. But for some clients, some of our clients, they do need everything locally, but certain things no longer need to be housed locally, like email, for example. Email is a cloud-based application. You don't need to have it local and protected by your own firewall. You'd much rather have it in the cloud, protected by Microsoft or GoDaddy's firewalls or Cisco's firewalls, as opposed to yours. And not only the security electronically, also the legal protection you have when you are with Microsoft, for example. If somebody needs to access your data, you can only protect your data so much with your own money. But if you use Microsoft's legal department, now you have a lot more protection for your data, and it will really take a long time. Just like if you know recently what happened with Apple. When the FBI is trying to access data, Apple put the kibosh on it basically and said, no, that's not going to happen. And now the government has to deal with Apple, not with you personally, which definitely is almost like a losing battle, to be honest with you. So the cloud model does not have to be all or nothing at all. It could be a hybrid. It could be a gradual transition. You can put your application, and actually Manish is going to talk about this a little bit later, and you can allow the cloud for more collaboration and more communication and accessibility from anywhere in the world. The other good thing about the cloud is, if you need 5 servers today, that doesn't mean you're going to need 5 servers in 3 months or in 2 years. Or if you need to add 7 users today, you might need another 30 users in 3 months, or you might need even less users in a few months. With the cloud model, you only pay for what you need. You never have to pay and kind of try to be to predict the future and buy and store storage and licenses for what you might need later. The other thing that helps with is managing your licenses. Right now, Microsoft has got a strong push, and not just Microsoft, a lot of other vendors, they have a strong push to help audit your licenses. And when the traditional model, when you do buy your own licenses, maintenance is hard. You might have to sometimes buy the same license for people 3 or 4 times. Well, with the cloud offering, you're always centralized. Everything is accounted for in the cloud, and you know exactly how many licenses you have, and then you no longer need a license. You just send it back. You no longer need to pay for it, and this way you're only paying for what you need. You're never paying, and you're wasting company resources on something you do not need. That pretty much summarizes how you can use servers in the cloud. Of course, if you have more questions, you can ask me, and for any specific scenarios, and I can show you exactly what you can do. The other area I would like to talk about is voice over IP. Voice over IP is basically taking your traditional phone and multiplying its power to a million degree. You no longer need to use copper wires that just transfer electrical current and voice. Now you can actually have everything transferred in in data format. Now, when you are transferring data formats, now you can add a lot of information, and you can use several platforms to get your voice. And for example, you can have your call follow you no matter where you are. And you go to any different office on your cell phone or even your home phone or another office, another branch, you can always have your calls follow you. You can check your voicemail and store it in your Outlook, for example. So you no longer have to dial and put in these codes and remembering another process to check your voicemail. Now you're actually getting you just double click on your voicemail that shows up on your email, and you have your voicemail. You can now transfer it into voice to text and keep it in another format. There's so many things you can do, so much manipulation you can do more than traditional telephony. There are several benefits, of course, in having a digital format of voice. The other thing is you no longer need to buy a switch and deal with another company that will come in and maintain your telephone switch. You can just deal with your IT vendor, and you can have just a regular virtual instance on your current servers or in the cloud of your telephone switch that is completely managed locally, all with a user interface which looks just like pretty much like an Excel sheet, or going to any other standard website. Or you can have it all hosted using a service like, let's say, Vonage, for example, where you don't actually have to buy a switch or have to get a dedicated circuit. You can actually just use their service, and they'll route calls to you. And even in some cases, let's say you have like 5 extensions and you have 5 call lines. There are companies like, for example, Star to Star. If you are using all 5 lines and you get an extra line, they will temporarily lend you an extra line so you never miss a call. And that is very helpful, especially if you have some kind of a call center situation where you're normally working with 5 lines, but twice or 3 times a year you get this influx of calls. You do not want to drop any of them, and you can have now an extra line to get to it. So the benefits are really business continuity. You're able to grow. With these services, again, because it's a cloud, it's all you can eat. You need more, you add more. You don't need any more, you stop paying for the service and you reduce the number. And that's very helpful, especially if you have seasonal work. You do not need to spend any more money on servers and expensive lines. You can actually now reduce your costs, and you make this more of an ongoing expense, more of an operating expense than a capital expense. You connect all your locations with one single line, and you can really work from anywhere you want. And you do not have to do as much maintenance and software upgrades because it's all hosted and it's all being done centrally.
So one question,
yes, sir.
Late.
Yes.
Now, with these many options, when the users are making the choices,
yeah,
what are a couple of things they should focus on, like focus on the business continuity as the focus, or ability to grow, or all these systems pretty much provide all these features? Or
I mean, obviously, there's always going to be give and take. If you are doing everything hosted, that will give you with pretty much everything. You get the business continuity. You can add and remove as you please, and you can secure it's backed up, and it's accessible from anywhere. When you have something local, you're going to have to invest in a server. You do have a little bit more flexibility. It's the line coming in, but now you have to pay for your own SIP line. You have to pay for your own telephone sets, and you have to purchase those as opposed to just renting them from the hosted hosting company. So, and some people just like that ownership, and there is some value in it. When you are small, I recommend mostly going with a hosted solution. Once you hit 30 or 40 people, that's when it makes a lot of sense. I mean, one of my clients is a school in Santa Ana and Coachella, and they have like 2 offices in Orange County. They're all the same system. You call in, it's one location. Can I talk to accounting? Well, accounting is in Coachella. Sure, it's just an extension. The people calling in, they get that they're not confused. They don't have to worry about 2 different phone calls. It's one phone call for the company, and you can, for the school, sorry, and you can make that even like attached to an 800 number or something, and it'll give you just one unified outlook on the entire method of communication to your clients or your students through that through systems like that.
Excellent. I like your analogy of renting versus building a house.
Yeah.
And definitely when you are having on the tight budget or want to be efficient, then just rent an apartment. It comes with pool and gym and everything. We don't have to build that.
Absolutely, and let the landlord can figure out all the maintenance and all that headache. You don't have to take it on yourself. But like I said, if you get to a certain level, then economics makes it becomes more sensible to go to that. Even with email servers, once you hit a certain level, you get, just financially it makes more sense. And the level of access. So bigger companies, that's a different thing. Once you get like 500 or so, I would totally recommend getting your own servers. But if you're in the SMB market, using those hosted cloud applications has been really a lifesaver, because now you can have all the functions that the big companies that have the multi-million-dollar budgets, you can have them all for like $20, $30 a month. And that really helps and helps you get that competitive edge that we were talking about earlier, where if you are on the cutting edge of technology, you are probably ahead of your competition. And because the market is so saturated these days, this is the only thing that gives you the advantage, is having that edge, that faster communication. You are communicating to your clients, you're communicating to your vendors. And that's something that can get your vendors and your clients to communicate on the same platform, and you're sharing data and collaborating a lot faster. Well, if you're constantly talking, this is going to give you a bigger advantage than those who are not talking and you're not always constantly sharing information with. And that's where, like we said, like the servers, the cloud servers, accessible everywhere, and even the services we're talking about, like LinkedIn, Skype, and Dropbox, or OneDrive, and voice over IP. You're always available, always sharing with your clients and your vendors, and you're moving your process. Your process is moving faster than those who are not communicating as frequently, that are not able to share as much.
Okay.
So this is pretty much in a nutshell what voice over IP is. It is a big part of today's business. Again, going to the Boston Consulting Group, and Microsoft refers to them a lot because they're a very reputable company. 55% of companies right now provide a mobile workforce to their clients. In 2013, there were about 21 million tablets shipped in 2013, and in 2008, they're expecting 70 million. That's 3.5 times more than what was accomplished in 2013. Mobile computing is becoming a lot more relevant. A lot of the new generation, new people, they don't want to buy a car anymore. They want to work from home. They want to work flexible hours, and the way the market is and the job market is shifting, and it's very apparent in the way, just even like the car industry is feeling it. Everybody is working in a different way. People are on their cell phones all the time. They're working all the time, and it's very different than a few years back, where at 5 o'clock you left everything in the office. You no longer leave anything in the office. You're still connected at the end of the day to your phone, and people are doing business, especially in the global environment that we're in right now. A lot of companies are outsourcing, and you need to be accessible all the time to be able to talk to your vendors or your suppliers, or even if you've outsourced some of your functions through, like, let's say, Fiverr.com, or to another country where they do certain functions. There are people that do part of their bookkeeping in places like India or in the Philippines are development, definitely development. A lot of the development is being done in South America and India and in Russia. So these people need to be communicating all the time, and you're not going to be in the office all the whole time. You're going to have to be at home on your laptop or even on your cell phone, which is pretty much a computer these days. I actually do more on my phone as far as computing and research than I do the talking on it, to be honest with you. So it's really something to consider. Voice over IP will definitely help you with that. And cloud computing is essential for mobile users and to be able to be accessible all the time and to provide information to collaborate as fast as possible. So with this, I want to give this the folks a little bit to hosted applications. Manish is our expert as a developer as well, of course. He's an expert on applications and helping small businesses access their information, even developing custom applications and web applications for, mobile applications for his clients. And he'll probably be the best person to talk about this. Manish, can you please take over?
Yeah, thank you, Laith. So great information on the cloud servers and why. And similar to the cloud servers, where your server is in a shared location at Microsoft, Amazon, Google, or cloud environment, what we are talking now is how the applications go into the cloud. So what are these applications? So let's take some examples on what I'm talking about, right? So let's say, what are a couple of applications you might have already seen? So these includes the utilities or the applications like Laith mentioned. LinkedIn is a networking application on the cloud. Everyone uses it. Facebook is a social media application. In similar way, we have business applications like Office 365. Then we have QuickBooks Online. We also have Link or chat, like Google Chat is one, or Google Hangout, Microsoft Link, which has now become the Microsoft Skype for Business. Then you have other applications which is business-only applications like SharePoint, meant to enhance team collaboration. And then Exchange, everybody uses the mails. So in the past, you would have Exchange server sitting in one of the hosting provider or in your office. Now Exchange goes with Microsoft Online Services, which means Microsoft has multiple large data center, which in fact they created for Fortune 500 companies. So the best part is these big companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple created these giant servers to be used by Fortune 500 companies or millions of users. And you, as a small business users, get a piece of that for a fraction of the cost. Now, if I just refer a couple of servers here, like SharePoint is a server, Dynamics is a server, and Exchange is a server, each of them with licensing and the installation maintenance cost more like $10,000 or $20,000 worth of the investment. So we are talking $30,000, $40,000 worth of software plus consulting, which now you can buy for like $10 per month or maybe like $30 per month scenario. So you see the power of cloud, right? For a fraction of the cost, you will have access to all the application as a utility. Just like you pay electricity as a utility cost, you rent these applications from the cloud providers. So what does that get you? Now you can be having all the latest tools for your organization, and you can be competitive for very less cost. So you're not investing thousands of dollars to come up with an environment which is going to make you productive. Now you can focus on business and say, okay, I need to collaborate with my employees, contractors, and with my clients. I need a collaboration environment. Let me get that. I need email working on the mobile or laptops, tablets. Let me get that. Similarly, you need financial software like QuickBooks Online, so you can get that. So now you can be very free from the technology perspective. So the idea is to get to know all this technology and create a set of tool set on the cloud so that your business can function very competitive in this world. So you are getting the competitive advantage and being current. In the past, if you needed all this, then you will invest time to develop these applications. Sometimes it works for your business need, or sometimes it doesn't, so you waste a lot of time. So yes, there is a learning curve also. With the cloud, it comes that you should be ready to adopt. Yes, the cloud is made for everyone, so what works for everyone may not work for you, but if you are flexible, for the less cost, you can be very productive in the short time. So keep that in mind, that when you're choosing, don't just say, oh, it doesn't work, I want it the way I want it to work. It doesn't work the way you want it to work because they have tried to make it work for everyone, and that may not be how you want to work, but for the cost, this is the best way to go.
Yeah, Manish, but I have a question for you. You can still customize a lot of these things, right?
Yes, you can. So that is the second step people should think about is cloud does come, I mean, it's a very good point, Laith. Cloud comes up with a lot of power of doing things.
Yeah.
And it takes time and investment of energy or making sure team works through those things and make sure that they understand how you can best utilize or how you can customize.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, the best route is get onto the cloud with the very basic things. Get used to the basic, and then you find, oh, you know, if we get these three things also done, we can be much more productive. Now you can focus on those three things. You can invest your time, call Microsoft, use YouTube or consultant like us to help you guide through the process.
Okay, very good.
So example is SharePoint, right? So it comes up with intranet.
Yeah.
But many of the, like 90% of the clients don't use intranet because they don't know how to use.
Yeah.
But we come in the company or we do educational seminars to tell you the benefit of intranet. And that's where you would work with us and realize the potential of, oh, now we can work with 50 of our team members much faster. So in that scenario, you would definitely should go and get more consulting on making best use of the cloud.
Very good. Thanks. Thank you.
We just talked about collaboration, right? So now that you are on the cloud, the best thing is you don't have to search for a file in the email and then see, okay, who sent me and I'm unable to find. That kind of thing should not happen. If that is happening, like if you are unable to find your documents within 3-4 clicks, then you're not doing good job in using the cloud. So ideally, you should be able to reach any information on any device within 4 to 5 clicks. That's the general rule.
Yeah.
And if you're not, that means your cloud is not set up correctly. But ideally, if you're on cloud, all the documents shared with everyone, area is set up, you have proper permission based on your department.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, you can just get the information easily from the cloud. So that's what we are talking. Any device, online or offline, you should be having seamless access. And that improves your productivity because not only you, but your team members, your clients, and partners have the access to same information easily.
You know, what really helped me with this is I used to have multiple versions. I would not know which is the latest version of an edit, especially if I'm working with a team member on like a contract or something. And the client wants a revision here, and then I have somebody adding a revision there and a revision there, and I've got like 3 or 4 people, and this email is coming back and forth, going back and forth. Right now, what I do actually, I just share it with my client and and the office as well, and just, okay, well, and I share that link with that person. Okay, well, review it now. Like, they review it. It's not good. Okay, we'll add another revision. But we're always working on the same version. And even sometimes we can actually, two of us go and edit at the same time.
Yeah.
And if we have a Skype session as well, we're talking and we're seeing each other and we're editing the document. Actually, it's helped me a lot the last couple of times. It really did.
That's good. I mean, these are two examples you just brought up. One is versioning. So cloud allows you to save backup. So now, by mistake, you don't lose the copy and lose all the your effort. Sometimes it happens is you spend 3 hours on a proposal, and by mistake you save the old version on top of the 3-hour work. So cloud automatically saves your local copy, so you can revert back. So that's called versioning. And then second is co-authoring. So that's pretty good as well, where you can have the same copy getting edited by multiple people at once. And if you are online that time, you can even chat and comment on each other's work. So that's really powerful. Allows you to reduce your turnaround time.
Very good.
And save money.
Very good.
You did touch base on that people are remotely working a lot. Hours are getting flexible. These are getting longer, but you are more flexible on the location. So now you can work from Starbucks, from the coffee shop or library or at client place, right? So you're waiting, but you can be working. And that's where the things like cloud tools like chat applications, Skype for Business for sharing information via chat, video, or screen sharing becomes very helpful. So you already are using it, but I would like to bring one more thing is it's important to have an ecosystem. Because with the cloud, we have also seen explosion of multiple applications. Many cloud applications do very good job on individual things, but they don't do good job on sharing, on making sure things are seamless. So now people have 10 applications for 10 things. However, now the focus should be how can we do 10 things with one set of applications. So buying to an ecosystem like Office 365 helps. I'm not just saying Office 365 is one answer. There are Google suite of tools,
of course.
and there are Salesforce suite of tools, but having one suite of tools, one login, one way of doing things will help your business than just buying this application because it's $3 less than other. And then losing time at the end because now things don't work together.
No, I mean, I have to reset my passwords almost every week. I mean, like things that I use once or twice a week, I can almost never forget. And at one point, I just have to put them all the same password. But then the username would be different because this username would be taken somewhere else, or I might have had like a different email for a different time, and I created an account like 6 or 7 years ago. So I'm finding myself always trying to do resetting passwords and creating new accounts for things that I know I've had history in. So that's a very good point, Manish. I agree with you. It's having something, and actually even like with the 365, Office 365, if you have one of those hybrid solutions, you can federate your server and then integrate, so you can be able to manage it locally. And you change your password on your domain, it'll change it on the cloud as well, and you'll be able to just change it one time in either location, and it's completely synchronizes, right?
Right. So what you talked about, the federated login, where one place to control all the passwords. But there is another way to do single sign-on, where you can trust the application, and through 365 login ID, it will let you log into other applications. Example is QuickBooks Online. Now, QuickBooks is a very good example because you may have one login or two login on QuickBooks, and then you don't want to share with every contractor you have or every accounting firm you hire. Now you can federate through, you can put single sign-on through Office 365, and let your company can help on that. And once we have the 365 login, it will let me log into the QuickBooks Online. But then I can share that login page with other employee or contractor and give them temporary access. So I don't have to share QuickBooks login. but just with 365 login, they can log in.
Is that similar to when you go to, let's say, an application that you want to sign on for the first time and it says, use your Google or use your Facebook to log in?
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Okay.
Yes, so you can use Google login, or you can use Facebook login. But these are more of
this is more like consumer. I know, yeah, so consumer.
What we are talking is
business. Okay, very good, very good.
So we talked about this, and then I think I'm pretty much done. But I just wanted to highlight that renting versus buying. So instead of going for buying the application or customizing for your own need, think about renting it or getting whatever is available, work with it, and then come up to advanced use or customized use of the application. It provides you a tremendous ROI.
Yeah, and that goes back to the same theme with the cloud. It's only paying for what you're going to use, and you don't need to waste your resources on something you're not going to use. Thanks, Manish. Thank you so much. It's very, very informative. Okay, I'm going back to the Boston Consulting Group again. This is from 2013. This is not that old. It still says, I mean, we've been saying these statistics for about 15, 16 years in IT. After a disaster, if you do not have proper backup and a proper business continuity plan, 40% of the people that lose their servers or like some kind of their business goes through some kind of a disaster where they lose their data, they are not able to reopen. That's a significant amount of, that's a very, very big percentage actually. A lot of small and medium businesses say that, that they understand it. I mean, actually 4 out of 5 people understand the need for backup and for continuity. And a lot of people, actually about 1 out of 4 people say that they do not have adequate, and I think that's actually very optimistic. I think it's a lot more than 1 out of 4 people that does not have proper backup and security. Your data is really what runs your business. If you do not have your data, if you lose your data, you lose your contact list, you lose your business leads, you lose your marketing material, and your billing data. I mean, that's just the amount of money that you could miss out if you lose your billing and you don't know who owes you what. It can be detrimental to a business. The cloud offers something very, very unique. What the cloud does is it enables you, because of the virtualization we talked earlier, you can take the data that's on your laptop, the data that's on your server, the data that's on your phone, and have it replicated in the cloud. Not only can have the data, but you can also have the entire environment in the cloud. So, for example, my server here and in our office has a unit that's connected to it. This unit takes a complete replica of the server. So somebody comes over here and steals my server, that backup unit, within an hour, I can have a replica of my server running, and I can have my people here up and running within an hour and working. The alternative would have been, even if I had a regular backup from before, I would have to still go buy the hardware, rebuild the environment, find all the licenses, and at that point probably have lost the licenses, so I have to buy the licenses again. The server crash used to be something very, very expensive, something that is $10,000 to $15,000 to recover. Even on a $3,000 server, it's about $10,000 to $15,000 to recover from that server because of all the labor that's in there, trying to recover whatever, trying to revive your crashed hard drive or finding the licenses and rebuilding the environment. All the labor that goes into it is very, very expensive. Well, now with the new tools, you can have a virtualization of your server, and you can be up and running within an hour or 2 hours, and people are working. Now, the next question is, well, what happens if somebody comes in and steals my server and also steals the backup unit? And that's where the cloud solutions are really, really useful. And using the cloud, you can have a complete replica of your system, of your server, and all your server environments copied to the cloud and virtualized in the cloud. So, and we've done this like a year ago. We had a company that they make records, like all retro records, you know, like all grunge kind of music. And one of the people that worked there got upset. I don't know what happened that night. Ended up destroying all their servers and their backup unit. Luckily for them, they're clients of ours. And we had a complete replica of their servers in the cloud. Sure enough, we spent the thing in the cloud. We did some changes to their current firewall, and they were able to be up and running with their specialized applications on the cloud. Of course, you are in they had a very low internet connection, so it ended up being a little bit slow, but they were still able to do their billing. They were still able to get up and running and have full service resumed within 3 or 4 hours. Now that gives us some time to go and buy the proper server, get the right price for it, rebuilding it, doing it right, reconnecting everybody, and then transferring that virtual server into the on-premise server and get them up and running back to the normal speed. We moved their emails to the cloud so they did not feel any of the pain of emails going down. They were still able to communicate to their clients, and they were able to explain that things will be a little bit slower, but you know, everybody's working on it. And sure enough, within a week, they were back on full force. They probably lost 2 or 3 hours of productivity, which to us, of course, was a big victory. And for the client, they just thought, you know, it was just another day at work. They didn't really feel the pain that was normally associated with a server crash. And it's actually very analogous to nanotechnology. They say that they're going to create mini robots that when you take a pill, it'll attack your cancer cell. And you know, where something right now when you have cancer is so detrimental, it'll be something like take this pill and call me tomorrow morning. I mean, what a leap it is for the people who felt it, like ourselves. It was such a leap for us, where we know that a server crash just 5-6 years ago was a disaster, where the entire company had to come to a halt to go to the client and take care of them. Now it's just like, okay, you know what, Kevin, spin the virtual instance and go make a couple of changes on the firewall, check with the users to make sure that they're all connected. And it was really, really, for us, it was, you know, it's sometimes when you sell the solution, and you believe in the solution, but you actually never see it work. But this is like the first time we actually saw it working, and it was really a great experience for us.
So thank you. I was having little trouble understanding virtualize, or what does that mean, and your story helped me understand that, you know, you had the whole copy of the server somewhere, but
yeah.
then you were able to create a new environment,
yeah.
which is a virtual environment on the cloud,
yeah.
and get the same kind of setup which was on local on
yeah.
the cloud
Absolutely.
for this client.
Yes.
And that way they can work on this virtual environment.
Yeah, yeah.
When you build their new environment on their
Absolutely.
So
actually, yeah, there's other reasons. There are other benefits of having a virtual your server virtualized. A lot of times when there's like a server that is so critical, you want to add the patches to it, or you want to add an upgrade to whatever software is running.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually run it on the actual server,
yeah.
you don't know how it's going to behave.
Yeah.
But when you have a virtual backup of your server, you can just spin the backup and install on the virtual replica and see how it behaves. If it crashes, then you don't have to install it. Then you can go back to your whoever you are doing business with, telling them, this is crashing my server. We got to do something else about it.
So you can use virtualization as your test environment, QA, patch updates, before you do the actual updates. Okay?
Absolutely. And the other thing also with these backup solutions, like there's Veeam, there's Datto, with these guys, you have multiple snapshots of your server.
Yeah.
So if you want to go back like a day before, 3 days before, we had a client that got affected with the crypto locker. I don't know if you heard about the crypto locker. You go in there, it encrypts all your files. Your entire company cannot access any of their files, and they want, they usually have to pay them in bitcoins. Bitcoins are what, like $300-400 now, and they want like 2 or 3 bitcoins, depending on the size of the company. Sometimes it's $50,000, sometimes it's only $2,000. Where we had a client that just on principle just did not want to pay that. So we had to go and retrieve their server to an earlier state, they were down like an hour while we're doing the recovery, but they didn't have to pay that, and they did lose a couple of hours of work. But based on principle, they just did not want to pay that, and they were up and running. And just a couple of people had to go in there and modify a couple of Word documents. And we were back in business.
So, if a company is a small and they don't have a network, but they have set up PCs and they are on the cloud, does the crypto locker still impact from one of their contractors? I mean, my example is you have a couple of people in the company, but they sit in their own office, in their home office, and one of the contractors gets this crypto locker. Does it impact the cloud environment, or this is mostly meant for the network?
No, this is just local. And basically, it's what happens is with the crypto locker, when you get some kind of a file with let's say, like a resume or something, and it'll have an executable in it. As soon as you run it, it'll go and encrypt whatever files it sees. Now, if you are in your office and on your PC, it'll encrypt everything on your PC, all the documents on your PC. But if you are connected to the network drives, it'll go and encrypt all these as well. Now, of course, when you have a server environment, we advise you to put everything on the server. This way we have backup, we have control. And so if it does get infected, we're able to recover it. Okay, and but on your local machine, if you're not connected to something that's connected that has versioning, that has several snapshots, then you are probably in trouble in that case, unless you have somewhere having a backup on the cloud that has a previous version before your files get encrypted, and then you can go delete the ones that are encrypted and restore to the old ones. So yes, having multiple copies or having something on the cloud, like I said, no matter how much protection you can put on your PC, on your network, it's really no match to what Microsoft can do, what Cisco can do, what Apple can do, or what Google can do, because these guys will really have multiple layers of firewall, because they are a very, very sought after target. Like my company is probably not as targeted as Google or Microsoft, so I probably would have holes I would not see, and I would put just like one level of security that if it was hacked, we will go through. Where these people have multiple levels, and they have firewall levels behind firewalls, behind firewalls, behind firewalls, and multiple levels of security. Usually like 40 or 50 levels of security before you can do anything harmful to their data. So going with them is usually very safe. And this is just on the electronic side, on the networking side, let alone the legal side where you can actually protect you legally. The last thing I want to talk about, where there's a big benefit to a lot of companies, is managed services. This is what we do, so I know a lot about this. Managed services is the service that you can get with your PCs. Years ago, you had your own company. A lot of companies start like this. There are 5 people. They have a cousin or a nephew that knows a little computer. The owner goes out there, buys a few computers, and is able to keep track of what's going on. Well, when you start to grow a little bit, you get to about 10, 12 people, it becomes a little bit harder. Now you start to lose control. You're not sure if your backups are running. You're not sure if your licenses are on. Every second day, there's somebody coming in and starting move users, add users. You want to communicate with your clients more. You have more salespeople that need access locally, and things start to get a little more complicated. Now, traditionally, you would hire somebody and you would call them when there's a problem. They would come in and help you. But these guys always end up just fixing and putting Band-Aids and not really giving you and helping you grow your business. They are able to come in and solve your problems, and the cost is very unpredictable. They're not really your partner where they go in there and kind of help you get more out of your business. They're basically just keeping the lights on and just fixing holes in the wall. And in other cases, you have a company, like let's say when you get like 25, 30 people, and they would hire somebody full-time. Well, I used to be a full-time IT person, and my main goal was to reduce the noise as much as possible. And for the most part, I was just there like ambulance, waiting for something to go wrong. But at a certain time, you get everything so tidy and so efficient, I just sit and do nothing. And there's no sense in me going in there and putting anything new and just disturbing the peace because everything is working fine. Extra cost could mean instability and just unnecessary, just using company resources for nothing. So, so with the internet, with the cloud, it became a new breed of companies started, which is the new IT managed services. The way these companies work, they come to your company, they make an assessment. They make sure that you're up to a certain standard where you have the latest desktop or the most current or efficient desktop that you could get. And they work with stabilizing your environment, finding ways to reduce costs, and maybe increasing your bandwidth. But once this is done, they leave an agent on each desktop and on your servers, and now they're able to run maintenance and monitor your systems 24/7. So, and this usually happens because now you have like a team of people that are supporting your system. 90 to 95% of all your support tickets can be done remotely, and they depend on certain things to make sure that you are working as efficient as possible. So the main benefits for the client are, to be able to focus on core activities. So if you're the owner of the business, you don't need to be out there buying PCs and fixing PCs. It helps you in being more productive and reducing your costs. Having a predictable monthly cost of your IT will help you budget. And a lot of times they are able to help you. They'll provide the hardware for you as well, so you don't have any more of the capital expense. You just treat everything as an operating expense, and that reduces, of course, your accounting efforts. It reduces the overhead and gives you more control. These companies know how to come in and centralize all the maintenance and all the antivirus, all the support, putting everything into tickets to help you be more efficient. They work usually with an SLA, a service level agreement, so they can guarantee you that within an hour of a critical disaster, there will be somebody on it. If your laptop is not working within 2 hours, you'll have response. And if things do not really go well, and then you'll send somebody to your site to help you manually. And also these people usually help you with services like voice over IP and with backups. They'll monitor your backup and help you in case of disaster, just like I explained earlier. Of course, they do that by monitoring the way they do that is by monitoring your system 24/7. So in every device, they monitor disk utilization, memory, make sure that your antivirus and malware is up to date. They back up your data, and they provide critical alerts on your systems. They make sure that all your systems are patched and upgraded, all your versions are maintained, and they provide remote access to your system. So if they need to, they can go in there and help resolve the problems on the phone, through chat, and through remote control. They usually use a help desk system that will help them track the history and show you statistics on trends in your company. If we're having to reset passwords all the time, then that is something we can address. If we see that all of your systems are using too much memory, too much hard drive space, that is also something that we will address, and we'll probably make recommendations on that. So these companies also will work as your CTO and Chief Information Officers and help you take your business to the next level. And I think with this, I kind of conclude all the core services that you can get for your business in the cloud. We touched a little bit on the servers, reducing the cost of having your own servers going to the cloud, reducing the cost of telephony and getting more functionality of your telephony with your voice over IP, and having applications in the cloud that are accessible, collaborative, and backed up and updated always on the latest version by using applications in the hosted applications in the cloud. And last thing is how to take control and manage all these services and keep your IT and network up to date all the time at a reasonable cost by experts, all done remotely, securely, and efficiently. I want to thank Manish from Adaptec. Manish, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all the information you provided today. Any last thoughts, sir?
No, thank you, and please let us know if you have any questions in the comments or just reach out to us. So thank you.
Okay, very good. Again, my name is Laith. I'm from Acompico. If you have any questions, you can email me at laith@acompico.com, and our number is 888-670-5066. Manish, what's your number?
It's a 323-316-7354. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.